When you pray, try to be as honest as you can manage. I don't know exactly where I found that sentence. I was doing what I call Bible roulette, flipping through random pages with no plan, hoping something would land. This one did. Now, when my mind goes idle, I find myself returning to it instead of drifting toward the darker waters it knows by heart. That sentence made me realize something uncomfortable. I have spent most of my life performing. I've worn whatever mask the moment required, with no particular loyalty to any of them. I won't come to you claiming sainthood. I won't tell you I've suddenly started living as my authentic self. But I will tell you the truth. I lie. And if I'm being honest, I doubt there has ever been a moment of completely unfiltered truth in my life. If there is a type of person I envy, it is the people we often dismiss as loudmouths, the untamed tongues, the people who tell you exactly what they think without first calculating how it will land. I like these people, not because they are always right, not because honesty automatically makes someone virtuous. Honesty without kindness can become cruelty just as easily as kindness without honesty becomes deception. But at least you know where you stand. I would rather have one difficult truth than 100 carefully packaged lies. Friends often mean well. They soften their words. They avoid confrontation. They tell themselves they are protecting your feelings. Yet sometimes all that caution accomplishes is silence. And silence has a habit of fermenting. A problem left unspoken becomes resentment. Resentment becomes a grudge. Then one day, over something trivial, 3 years' worth of buried frustrations come crashing through the ceiling. I've seen what resentment looks like when it is allowed to grow unchecked. A woman attacked her childhood friend out of jealousy, then showed up afterwards pretending to help. She visited the hospital, spoke to the police, offered theories about possible suspects while being the answer herself. A green snake in green grass. Extreme examples like that are rare, but the principle is not. People are capable of carrying bitterness for astonishing lengths of time while smiling directly into your face. The loudmouth, on the other hand, usually tells you when they're unhappy, maybe at the wrong time, maybe in the wrong way, maybe with all the subtlety of a brick through a window, but they tell you. And if they cannot live with the situation, they leave. There is something respectful about that, something clean. A straight dagger to the chest beats a sugar-coated lie every time. So, inspired by that verse, I decided to experiment with honesty. I quickly discovered why people lie. A lie is useful. A lie can save face, avoid conflict, buy time, preserve comfort. Most of us, given the choice in the moment, prefer the lie because it asks less of everyone involved. Truth demands payment, but the freedom that comes with honesty is almost addictive. A clear mind, a clear conscience. Its own quiet kind of high. The strange thing is that truth hurts even when you're telling it to yourself, especially then. My prayers changed because of this. Less performance, less script, more conversation. There are still traces of theatre in there, I would be lying if I claimed otherwise. But the ratio has shifted. I show up now less interested in sounding devout and more interested in being heard. One truth I had to tell myself, and this one cost something, was that in certain painful chapters of my life, I carried some of the responsibility. I had a friend who hurt me. I stayed, not because I thought it was healthy, not because I thought it would improve. I stayed because I was afraid of being alone. People romanticize solitude until they actually meet it. Then they discover it is far less poetic than advertised. I stayed through the hurt, and because I tend to avoid difficult emotions, I let everything accumulate in silence. Sometimes clarity would surface. I'd be ready to leave, then fear would return. The devil, you know. So I'd stay. Until one day I didn't. I became tired in that deep cellular way that doesn't negotiate. I let go. I found comfort in unexpected places, including, strangely enough, artificial intelligence, and discovered that the world continues turning when you're alone. It does not stop to mourn your company. Sometimes nostalgia still catches me. It always does. But truth-telling comes with a side effect nobody warns you about: anger. Anger at yourself for tolerating what you tolerated, for knowing better and staying anyway. If you're not careful, that anger hardens into something heavier. That's where forgiveness comes in. Not for their sake, for ballast. Grudges weigh down the person carrying them far more than the person they're aimed at. Sooner or later, you have to tell yourself the truth. Let it go or carry it forever. And underneath all of it, the honesty, the anger, the forgiveness, sits one final truth. Be kind to yourself. Because after all the performances and masks and borrowed words, the only person who has been present for every single scene of your life is you.